everybody, welcome back to Matt's Mechanics. This is an episode that we're going to cover on the 2018 CBR1000rr, the new bike that you saw in the previous episode, or the one before that. Anyways, let's take a look at it and we'll show you what we're going to do. So here's the bad boy, and you know, like I said in the review episode, I love everything about the bike. There's a couple things I'd change. You know, it's got a gorgeous design, very sleek. I don't really know why they put this. That's the only thing. Most Hondas have this, you know, destructive looking fender on the rear end that holds the license plate. I don't know why it has to be so big. You know, it's like they're all sitting there and saying, hey, let's make it gorgeous, and then one guy comes in and, oh, you know what, well, it's got to be visible, so let's put the biggest, most ridiculous looking thing on the rear end. I don't know. But anyway, so we're going to get rid of this today. We're going to keep the stock turn signals. We're going to be putting that in the mount. And it will have a license plate light still, and we're going to be using the paper license plate because it's literally brand new. So we're going to be getting rid of everything from here back, and it'll be nice and tidy when we're done. It's a Yoshimura kit that I purchased, and yeah, on a later episode we'll be getting rid of the exhaust. We'll also be taking out the ECU and doing an ECU flash and putting on body sliders. And that will just about complete the mods that we're going to do for this bad boy probably. So let's work our way over to the box that is not even opened yet. I took out the packing list, as you can see, but I still have yet to actually open it, so you guys are here with me the whole way. Let me put you on my little mount. Alright, now we got all that blurry nonsense out of the way. Some exhaust I'm working on, I gotta get those out of the way. Alright, let's see what we got in the box, huh? Shall we? I got this straight from Yoshimura. I did not want to go to an aftermarket dealer. Let's turn that off. Let's see if you guys can hear me better. So yeah, I went straight to Yoshi because A, I wanted to make sure that I was getting the best price, because they will sell you the best price, and B, you want to make sure that, you know, gets here in a tidy time, and Yoshi's always really good about getting stuff here. I mean, right away, the package is nicely sealed. It even says genuine accessories on it. The package they sent in, it got here in a day. Yes, I'm in California and so are they, but wow, just wow. Especially during this COVID crisis, they did really good. So right away, everything's packaged individually, which is great. It's even open on one end, so I don't have to cut everything open. Give me a bunch of stickers, which is awesome. I love sticker bombing everything. I'm one of those guys. So let's, nice license plate holder as well. Probably keep the box. The box is nice and whatever. I'm weird, I keep everything. So that's made out of aluminum, I'll tell you right away. Looks like it's anodized. Oh man, I love Yoshi. You know, they're like a sister brand to I believe it is Sato or something like that. It's not Sato. Anyway, they're a sister brand to Akrapovic, I believe. They're a sister brand to them. And you know what? The quality is right there. Everything is nice. It doesn't have any scratches. It was put nicely in there. I just love everything they offer all the time. So we got our holder here. This is going to be the main holder. This is going to go on just like so. Looks pretty nice. And then let's open our remaining bag, see what we got in here. I think it also comes with instructions. Like I said, I haven't even put anything together and I can tell it's high quality. Look at that. It's like not even got a nick on it. It's nice and smooth. It's no ripples, nothing. It's great. Machining's nice, everything's deburred. This is great. This is really awesome. Let's take all this out, see what we got. Oop, dropped a bunch of zip ties. Okay, so it comes with our stickers, which is again awesome. It comes with a list of instructions. Cool, that's what it's going to look like in our finished product, which is great. Pretty straightforward instructions, it looks like. Here we have our rear license plate light. Nice and small. Ooh, I like how that looks. LEDs, of course, which will match with the rest of the bike. I don't have to put anything in it. Everything on the CBR1000rr is LED. That's a nice little sleek light. Wish it came with a Molex connector, but you know what? Even the wires are tinned, ready to go. It comes with hardware, and it actually, you know what? That's kind of nice too. It comes with the special little heat shrink connectors, actually. See those? You put them in both ends, you're going to crimp the middle, and then you can heat shrink on the outside. That's kind of nice. You know, it's obviously the best that they can offer for what you're getting. The kit itself was about $129, not too bad, especially when the Graves kit is about $175. I thought that was a little expensive for me. So yeah, as we put this together, it's going to look, these are going to be tucked in because the rubber on the tail lights, on the turn signals, are going to cover this, and then there'll be straight tail light. So it's going to go like that. So you're going to see it like this, and then the license plate will hold it all together basically, which is really great actually. I think that's a cool design, nice and lightweight. And as you can see, this is so much smaller than the other thing we're working with. So let's get started on disassembly of the bike, and then we'll install everything. All right. So first things first, let's take out the seats. So the pillion seat, which is for your passenger, as well as we will take out the driver's seat. So first things first, grab your key. Let me set you guys up so you can watch me. Out. These are actually helmet holders. I didn't know that for a little bit. Had to find those. Not a lot of area back here to work with, but honestly, you don't really need a lot of area to work with. Take the key back out. Put the seat somewhere nice and soft where it's not going to be hurt at all. Take your key, put it somewhere, again, that you're not going to lose it. And then let's remove this front seat, which they look like they're 5mm Allen keys. Look how gorgeous that seat looks. So take your 5. Pull up both of these bolts, and they do have a washer. Don't lose that washer, especially very easy to lose when it's inside the bike. Typically I like to keep both bolts inside and just pull it right out. Put that aside. And you know, I heard somebody saying something about the seat on this bike being so uncomfortable, and I gotta tell you, I have an RC51 right here, okay? That seat is the most uncomfortable seat you can find on any super sport bike. It's insane. So I don't know what to tell you. This seat is wonderful to me. Maybe I'm just used to having a shitty seat. I don't know, but these other people must be spoiled. I don't know. Anyways, so let's get back to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these little pop clips out. So you screw them, and then that closes the clamp. It's almost like a drywall plug, basically. You put it in, you put a screw in, and it expands the arms. So we're going to take those out real quick, and let's go from there. Let's get some more tools. See, as I said, you screw it down and it expands that. Let's get the other one off. Okay, we got those both out. Again, put those to the side where you're not going to lose them. Okay. And then we're going to be taking out these little bad boys, these small ones. Okay. And that's holding the this whole tail section splits in half from a top and a lower. So we're going to take out these four, and this whole section will come up. You do not have to take out this strap at all. And I believe those are 3 millimeters. So let's go grab that. Let's grab this bad boy. All right. Got our 3, and 3 it is. Next one. Don't mind my fingers, they're always dirty. I am a mechanic. And again, next time we'll be taking off all the covers to get to the air box and the gas tank. Get another one. That's all 4 of them. So we're also going to be putting these to the side. Let's go put it with our pillion seat so we don't lose anything. All right. Now you can split the two. Put you guys back up as the tripod. Watch me do that. All right. See, it just pops up here in the rear. Be gentle with it. So you're supposed to be pulling back as you're coming up. And again, be very gentle. This is a plastic and it is not indestructible. So as you can see, these are where you're going to be pulling back and pulling up. And everywhere else is basically a pull up. So let's put that to the side. Okay. Place it somewhere where it won't fall. Okay. Now, as we can see, we have a couple plugs here that we're going to want to mess with. Okay. So first things first, let's grab a light so we can see what we're doing. Okay. So these are my turn signals, I can tell because they're all the same colors. See those blue and orange? Those are always blue and orange on all Hondas. Again, don't ask me why they make them these colors, I just know they do. It's on a little mount right here, as you can see. See that little plastic mount right there? It slides on and slides off. Let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, so we got a couple of cords here. It looks like this one, and this one. So one's for your brake light, which will be this bad boy right here. This one is for your license plate light. So we're going to take that one out. And then we're going to be disconnecting the right and left blinkers. And as you pull this up, you can see these little prongs right here. So here, let's take that out. Use your nail to pull up on the tab, and then also be pulling back, and there you go. So as you can see, these tabs, you're going to be pulling up and then pulling that out. Okay, back with the light, because I'm a light kind of person. I like to be able to see, I'll admit it. Alright, so let's take off the bottom of the fender, and then this must be a service plug right here. Since it doesn't have anything plugged in, that's usually what those are. So let's take out the bottom of the fender and see what else we got going on. So as we do that, I'll show you. Take your Phillips. Okay, and there's four of these, it looks like. So one right here. One right here. That right here. So when you're doing this, you're not going to want to be holding the screws the whole time, let me tell you. Just makes it all the more difficult. So let's get the other two here. So there's still one right here. Oh, there you go. Flash on the phone. Be a smart guy. Put that screw down. Come back over here. Don't put too much pressure. That is a plastic tab. You don't want to break it. Especially, like I said, I just bought this bike a week ago, so I definitely am trying to be as careful as possible. Let's see what else we got going on. Feels like that should be it, but gotta make certain. Let's put you guys back up. Okay. Now let's see. Let's hold them under this. Okay, I see it. So it's going to be the same as the other one. You're going to be pulling back and pulling down. But again, be as careful as possible. This one's a little stuck. You can see it, but I don't want to use too much force. I'll tell you, knowing from my past experiences, using too much force never helps. There we go. Just needed to wiggle it out. Looks to me it does come out of this black plastic tray here as well. There we go. Okay, got that piece out. See that? So these are the pieces that are holding it on the most, and then obviously you're gonna have extras. Very nicely. Okay, so we're going to put that to the side. So that nothing happens to it. See, this black piece is actually mounted to the other black piece under here, so we're going to keep all that on there. There's no reason to really take it off. Okay. So, as you can see, those are the bolts we're trying to get to. That holds on this whole unit, which is metal actually, so it's going to be a considerable amount of weight we're dropping. Looks to me like they're 10s and 10s. So, let's go get 2 10s. So, personally, after years of doing this, I don't like to do everything by hand. I had to use my Makita Impact. And I believe these are 10, like I said. Yeah. So, put you guys back up on the tripod, and we'll loosen those up and take it right out. Okay, and now we're going to be loosening those right now. So, put a wrench on the inside. Take that nut out, nice and easy. And it does seem almost like the bolt is threaded, but it's not. Sweet. It was just locked in there a little bit. Not very long. So that we're balanced here. Don't cockeye, get the bolts to hold. Take out one on each side at a time. Otherwise it might basically lean one way and then kind of hold these bolts in place. Which it may do either way, but might as well play it safe. I'm gonna have to slightly bend that out of the way. It is plastic, therefore it is malleable. There's the third one, and we got one left. Okay. You're gonna have to push it up a little bit so you can get it off. Okay, and there she comes, one piece, complete. Let me show you what this looks like. So this is everything, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop this inside piece out, which we can see there's some little studs there, there's a Phillips there, there's a bunch of little things. These are all 8s. All right, so let's get to it. So first things first, let's take this cover off. Using one of my gear wrenches. Oh wow, so that really just pops right out of there. There's really nothing holding it. That's crazy. So actually, let's take out that Phillips in the center first. Let's see what we can do. So as you can see, I'm taking out the center Phillips. Let's get new stuff out of the way so I don't scuff it up. Check the hardware that you take from this, put it to one side, keeping your other hardware on the other side. Okay, there's 2 more screws up here. Don't mind my license plate, I don't really give a shit. It's not like you guys are gonna come hunt me down. Okay. We'll take those 2 bolts out. Again, when you can, make it easier on yourself and, you know, use a gun to take these bolts out. I prefer Makita because I've used DeWalt, I've used Milwaukee, and every other brand, and let me tell you, Makita just keeps on going strong. Okay, so now we have 2 more screws right here. Okay. And mind you, the LED in here is very nice. This one right here, so I'm not going to be getting rid of that. I'll keep that. I'm going to keep all of this because if I ever choose to sell the bike or anything, I do like having all the stock parts. It goes a lot longer as far as resale price goes. So that's one. Okay. And that's 2. There's no washer on that one. Just curious. Honda's not really the company that forgets to put stuff on there. Strange. So as you pull this down, you can pull the wires out of the side. Okay. Take this, put it to the side. Okay, now, very important. Look at this, and then you'll know to keep your left blinker on the left side, which is, by the way, the blue. Okay. Okay. Blue. Right blinker on the right side, which is also the orange. Okay. Very important, you don't want to mix those up. So now, all the hardware to the side, this is the unit that you've really been looking for the whole time. We're going to be removing the 8mm bolts. Wow, those were nice and tight in there, I gotta tell you. Okay, put that to the side, and then there's a plate in here. It's essentially a holder for the wires, but you want to remove that before trying to remove the light itself with the grommet, because it really just holds everything in place. So there we go, we got one out. Okay, I like to keep everything as an assembly personally. Okay, let's get the other one out. I'm also a big fan of keeping things on the side they go on, so the reason I place that way and on that side is because that is the right one. This is the left one, so I'll be placing it here until I'm finished. And basically I'll be assembling it like I'm looking that way, and that's the back of the bike. Again, this is just a personal preference kind of thing. You know, do whatever makes you feel most comfortable. That's what I always tell everybody, just because it's always going to suit you better. Okay, so now we have all the pieces ready to go into the new mount. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Look at our handy instructions here. Okay, yep. Okay. It even tells you the brown wire goes to the red wire, which is the hot wire. Black is to green, which is the ground. Green is always ground in Hondas. Always. Even back to, I had a 1978 CB750. Every green wire was a ground. Every single one. Cool. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Just gave it a little quick once over. And then, yeah, so now we'll put it together. So I need my license plate, of course, which they put together with these cool little plastic things, probably because it's paper. I don't know, it doesn't really matter to me. Hopefully I get my new plate pretty soon here. Don't really want to ride around with paper, but what are you going to do? This will also remove your reflectors, which, you know, I'm fine with reflectors, honestly. I'm not one of those people who thinks that they're a waste. They're obviously there for good reason. They, you know, help everybody see everybody, essentially. So anyways, back to the point. Put your license plate in the holder, like so. Okay, these Allens are going to be what you use to connect it. And remember what I said before, these will go in with this side tucked in like so. Okay. You're going to be using a flat washer on the back end. And just put them on loose for now, so that you can assemble the entire unit. You don't want to tighten anything quite yet. So again, flat washer, nylon nut. It's a lock nut technically. Okay. Oops. Even me with my own instructions, I forgot to put on the blinker holder. There we go. It's a pretty straightforward install. You know, nothing too hard about it. I think Yoshi is, again, one of the best brands you can buy anything from. And, you know, I figured if I'm gonna buy a license plate holder, I wanted a cheap price, which they were offering. and the same product as everyone else without me having to get pulled over. Graves offers a like tucked away, neat kind of unit, but again, that's not necessarily the best thing always. Cops already have a lot of reasons to pull us over. Don't give them another one, at least again, in my opinion. So let's just pop this through. Okay, remember, flat washer, nylon lock nut. Okay, sweet, that looks great. So what we're going to do is we're going to center this, and then we will tighten it. So I center it with the plate on the side, of course, like that. And these are 10s on the back, and looks like 3s in the front. Don't quote me there, these were actually 4s. So again, what we're going to do, place your 4mm hex key there, tighten it right up, go to the other side, press the license plate holder nice and snug up against there like you did the other. Allen key, snug up the back. Okay, I believe that will be good enough for that. Before we finish with tightening up the license plate, let's see, put these through this small hole. Again, this is barely reading the instructions. It's very self-explanatory. Again, that's just a good company making it as user-friendly as possible. So it looks like I'm going to want to loosen this a little bit so I can move it down as much as possible, because I want this to be flush, and as you can see, it's not really going to be unless I loosen it. So let's loosen these up a little bit. Not a big deal. So that's a heads up. Put on the license plate light before you do all this so that you can verify it is in the correct location. So these look like they're 3s. These Allens, very small. Let me grab a 3mm. See, don't quote me again. I'm telling you. They're actually 2.5. Super tiny. So tighten those on up, get them nice and snug. We're not going to move these again. I really love Yoshimura. I love their pipes. I think they make some other kind of light assemblies and things like that. I think that they're a quality company. I think they've always been a quality company. I really love most things Japanese, so I'm a sucker. What can I say? Okay, I'm not tightening these completely yet, just getting them snug so I can kind of line everything up. See, when I did that, I pushed this all the way to the side so that the bracket would technically be outbound as much as it could be. You want it as far over as possible. Do the same to here. There you go. Now that's locked down. Looks like my paper plate is giving me issues. Since my paper plate is giving me problems, I'm going to tighten this down first, the bottom one, because it's just giving me a hard time. Okay, now we got that one done. Pull this all to the side, lock those down. This one's already been pulled all the way to the side. Make sure you don't hurt the wires. Lock that one down. Make sure you snug all of them up, because you do not want these coming out when you're riding. They are nylon lock nuts, but just verify that they're nice and tight. There we go. Okay, so this will go up through here, and then we can put our blinkers on and install it. So again, I'm pointing this way with my blinkers because of how I laid them down. Remember, I said the orange was the right, so here we go. We'll be putting this one on the right. So take that out, take your holder out. Okay. Put the wire through the hole. Duh. Get the grommet nice and snug in there. Make sure you get the whole thing in and it's nice and flush. It's important to it staying secure and not breaking the mount. And you know, I think you can somewhat center these, but as you can see, it's diagonal, so you're going to want it diagonal as well. Put your plate holder back in, or your wire holder, I mean, and start to thread your bolt by hand so you don't cross thread it, and snug it right back up. It does have a hard point where it'll stop. You shouldn't be able to go too tight. There you go. Nice and pretty. Let's put the other side in now. Again, if you're looking for this product, go to the Yoshimura website. I'm not a marketer for them or doing any advertising for them. I just, you know, it's either that or Motosport or Revzilla, and I order from Motosport all the time. And, you know, they're great and everything, but I wasn't about to get the product in a day. I mean, I ordered it Wednesday, it shipped out Thursday, and I got it on Friday. Or sorry, I ordered it Tuesday, shipped out Wednesday, and I got it today, which is Thursday. And I mean, I can't ask for better service than that. They sent it out right away. And right now, like I said, with the COVID thing, that's pretty rare to get things so quick. And actually, it was quoted for that time frame, but you know, I've been seeing a lot of things that I've been ordering are quoted for, you know, a day, 2 days, whatever, and I don't see them till days later. Okay, so that's our completed unit. The 2 wires we will be tucking through, I think, the side, if I'm correct, or something of that accord. We can't really, oh, you know what? These will go fit through the middle too, so might as well. They look way better that way, in my opinion. So if you can fit everything, why wouldn't you? Oh, that's gonna be great. Oh yeah. There you go. Now they all fit up in there. Oh, that's awesome. Super neat. Okay. All right, let's go put it back all together. Okay, let's do this, guys. Back to the bike. And you know, this is a pretty easy install, I gotta say, overall. So, stand you guys back up. You can see exactly what I'm doing. Alright. So I'm gonna start with 2 of the bolts. I'm gonna take the holder and the wires, and we saw they went through the right side over here. So, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm still gonna do it this way. So, thing first, take the wires, slide them right through the edge. There's a nice big hole in this black holder on the bottom. Take your license plate wire, which we still have not crimped into yet, but you'll have room, trust me. Okay. So we got one in. Remember what I said before, same thing applies. Try to do one on both sides at a time so that you don't have things all cockeyed. The unit does go on the insides of the mounts. I just saw that mine was on the outside, so I moved it. There we go. Much better. Oh yeah, much better. So by that I mean there's a slot, and you can go on the inside or the outside of the slot. I had half of them on the inside and half of them on the outside. So I just had to take it out real quick and scoot it over. Not a big deal. So again, we're doing all these hand tight before we use the gun, because we do not want to cross thread anything. Make sure that you do that with almost everything that you're ever putting bolts into. Just do it with your fingers first, and then following up with something that you can torque it down. Nice and easy. And again, those license plate lights, not a problem to wire that in afterwards. No need to solder them because they are already pretty tinned themselves. So you see what I did there? I pushed up as I was doing it. Okay. Okay, all nice and torqued. Okay, so first things we're going to do is we're going to get these turn signal ones out of the way. So they do go underneath this wire. So let's take that and move those. And then for these two wires for the light, for the license plate, what we're going to do is, gotta come over to here. This is our old LED, which, you know, is again very nice. I don't want to have to, you know, cut this up, but don't have a choice. I need this. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this. Nice little cutters. Those are these. Okay, I'm going to give myself some extra room, so I'm going to cut a little bit of this sheath off. Okay. Doesn't matter actually, so just give yourself some extra, okay? So what we can do is we can take this, come on over, we can see the line is already about right there, okay? But again, I like to have a little bit extra just in case anything happens. So I'm gonna cut a little bit off, but I'll leave it probably about 2 inches or so. So about there, maybe 2.5 inches. Okay. So I'll take that, cut those. So we'll set this to 18. Give yourself a little bit. Okay. And even though these have heat shrink, I'll be putting heat shrink over those because I'm OCD and I really like things to be as perfect looking as possible. So that's, yeah, it is what it is. So we open up the heat shrink. You can see that's the right size. That will do just fine. The only thing is we're gonna have to cut this a little short so that it will fit inside of the heat shrink. Cool. Yeah, I'm not somebody who likes to use black tape. It's just not my thing. Maybe it's a personal thing, I don't know. But yeah, I don't like it. And as you can see, that's a little bit too tight. Got small pliers for this too, actually. Okay. So we're going to end up using 2 of those.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I didn't realize this was garage. I apologize.
Okay, we got everything we need. Something to crimple with. We'll get the heat down here in a second. Okay. Slip your heat shrink over first. Don't make the mistake of forgetting that. Okay. Slide these on one end, like so. Take your other, remember brown with red. Okay, get these in the middle. Take your crimp tool. Wow. That just fell apart on me completely. Okay, no worries. Strange. Okay. So we're going to end up just soldering these and then doing it the official way. So a little bit thinner heat shrink. Let's come over here. Let's get the heat shrink box back out. Put these back where we got them. We're going to use a nice and tiny heat shrink now. You only use as large as you need for the job. Okay, so those are probably the worst part about the kit by far, because they did not work. So what I'm going to show you here is basically a quick tinning of this. I don't know how many of you solder too often or what you do, but the official way to do wiring of vehicles so that it's one unison wire is to tin whatever you're doing and then solder them together. In this case, we're going to have quite a bit of wire, in fact, and I mean, there's the loop technique where you make a loop and make a loop, connect them, twist them, and then solder them. I mean, it's fine to do. Personally, I find it unnecessary. So I'm going to show you what I do, and that's just so that I can get this nice little baby heat shrink over it too at the same time. Let's get the heat gun out while that's warming up. Now at the same time, I would say you can put your bottom of your fairing on, but I don't really recommend it because if you're going to use a heat gun, which I'm about to do, you may melt the plastic. So again, I don't personally recommend that. It's not a big deal just to wait. Let's get some of the trash out of the way. Okay, let's see if she's hot enough. Okay, so she is. So add a little bit of solder to the tip. Okay, this is not typically the tip I use, but it will do the job. So add a little bit of solder to the tip, and then basically what you're doing is you're conducting heat through the cable so that you can then take the solder and add it to the cable itself with this on the bottom so that it's basically hot enough to absorb that solder. This is called tinning, and the reason for this is so that when you take another wire and add it to on top of this wire with something like this, you can just get them to absorb each other's solder and become one wire instead of having to add a bunch of wire for no reason. So let's take this and we'll go over to the bike. Now we're going to solder the rest of it on here. So if I knew this, personally, I should have done this in the beginning when I had this piece off, but you know what? Hindsight's 20/20. So okay. All right. So again, these are already tinned from the factory. So slide your heat shrink on over. Might not be enough tinning. I mean, who knows? We'll see. They're pretty small wires. I'm sure it'll be enough. So again, add a little bit of solder to the needle, or to the tip, sorry. And brown with red again. And just heat the wires up, and they should just form into one piece. Looks like a pretty thin connection, to be honest, but if it's one unit, because this wire is so thin, you want to make sure you add enough metal. So in my opinion, yeah, add a little bit of metal to the tip, more than I would normally add, and then hold them next to each other and make sure you get a little bit of that metal to stick with the wires. So as you can see, that's two formed wires. Okay, now let it cool off for a second before you add your heat shrink, or the heat shrink will instantly heat up and it'll be harder for you to get it over the entire wire. Okay. All right. Let's cool down for a couple seconds. We're going to slide both of those over. Use our heat gun. We're going to heat those up. Should only take a couple seconds. This heat gun is ridiculously large. It's used for so many different applications though. Heat those up really nice so that they're very tight around the wires. You don't want them sliding off, and this keeps moisture out, and especially since this is in the tail section. The last thing you need is, you know, moisture getting in there. So first things first, let's connect to the turn signals. Let's push those right back in. Okay. Take the unit, find the slot on the back end, which is not hard to find. You will see it. Tuck the wires back where they were, which was right here on the side. Okay, cool. Let's It's all nice and done and tidy. Okay. And then you're going to take your wire, plug it right back in there. Again, keep that tidy. Before you finish, test it by turning the bike on. And see? We have a very bright white light here, which means that that's connected. And then let's try our turn signals. Okay. I'm so funny. I actually mixed them up. That's hilarious. Okay, no worries. So, here, if you do that, all you gotta do is come back to your little setup over here where it's orange and blue. Okay. Take them, remove them, swap them. That's only if you screw up like I do, even after you tell people to make sure that they do it right. So, again, only if you're a jackass making a video that's a tutorial and doing the wrong thing will you do it this way. Okay. Now we turn on the left, and the left blinks. Turn on the right, and the right blinks. Turn on the hazards, and they blink. Cool. Alright guys, that is a full setup. Again, don't give a shit if you see my license plate. So here, the last things we gotta do is to put the fenders back on, and we should be good to go. Let's get everything out of the way here. So the first one to go on is the bottom one. Slide that over that. First you want to get the nipple in there, and you want to make sure you get those side pieces that I told you about. And then make sure you get the top. It's not like this all has to be done in one full swoop, you know? You can do it one piece at a time. It's pretty easy to get that on and off, actually, especially after taking it off the first time doing where all the pieces go. Now put the screws back in. Third screw back in. And the fourth. I'm even doing these by hand to start because plastic wants to move as you're pushing it in, and you're going to want to hold the bottom so that you can give adequate pressure so it doesn't come out of its spot. I don't know how it's better to say that. Okay, cool. So that's the bottom piece, nice and tidy. Cool. All right, let's get the top piece back on. Okay, this one was the tricky one, so let's be super careful with this. Make sure to get your strap up out of the way first. Okay, once you get that in, make sure you slide it forward slightly. We'll clean it when we're done. I'm kind of a clean freak. Okay, let's pop these bad boys in. Alright, got all these Allens. And overall, this is a friendly bike to work on. Really easy going, nothing too hard about it, almost at all. The most difficult part was splitting these rear fairings, just because you want to be as careful as possible, especially when, you know, again, you just bought the bike. So, you know, overall, I'd say that's the hardest part, and it's just time consuming otherwise. You know, this is out of 10, this is like I'd say a 2 difficulty. You know, you saw me do the whole thing with you guys, so I think this is an hour-long video, and that's just because I like to take my time and I like to do things correctly, even though I even got the blinkers on the wrong side. It doesn't really matter all that much. You can always swap the connectors, and if you're super weird about it, just take the lights and swap them if you found out that they're backwards. Alright, cool. Nice and neat. And let's get the seat back together. There are like studs that these sit in. We're gonna start that by hand. It's freaking me out. Okay. Started them by hand. Now we can finish off by just snugging them up. How this seat goes on is always a pain in the ass. Alright guys, there we go. That's the finished look. Nice and tidy in the rear end. Way better than what we saw in the beginning, where, you know, it was coming down to about here. Now, nice and tidy. You can barely see any wires. That's definitely a much better look. Much better. And now I'm just going to take a rag and clean everything from all my fingerprints, etc. And, you know, just kind of go over everything, make sure that everything is perfect. Again, it's always good practice to make sure that your work is nice and tidy and clean off all your fingerprints. Anyways, so subscribe and like if you want to see more of these kind of videos. I will have, again, one on the exhaust and the ECU flash and the body sliders for the same bike. Thanks guys, have a good one.